Give me liberty or give me death, Patrick Henry once said, a year before the United States declared its independence. I don't know if he was the first person ever to say it, but I doubt it. I sometimes wonder what the person that first uttered that phrase meant by liberty. I think a lot of people today, especially Republicans, have a very different definition of the word, and they are very fond of talking about it. I guess you could call it the liberty to define liberty however they want to define it, but that doesn't mean I have to respect their definition. The first person to ever talk about liberty as a right of all people was probably someone with some pretty significant and obvious grievances against the system they lived in. Perhaps it was slaves thousands of years ago in the Middle East, or maybe it was some persecuted minority, or both. When people talk about something as basic as their right not to be the property of someone else, then that's an obvious reason to justify calling it liberty. The founding fathers of the United States certainly had a point about liberty as well, with the whole taxation without representation thing, even though they themselves were quite wealthy. However, today's Republicans have stretched liberty to mean that the wealthy shouldn't have to pay higher taxes at all, which hardly seems fair to me given that the laws that they pushed for ended up blowing up the world economy. Kind of gives those "don't tread on me" flags a different meaning, doesn't it? I don't know if this Occupy Wall Street movement is going to get anywhere in the long term, but I applaud their efforts to try and counteract the mental midgetry of the Tea Party. Unfortunately, most politicians are not going to be terribly concerned about this type of protest until the demographics of the protesters become similar to the demographics of those that wield power on Wall Street as well, meaning those that contribute to their campaigns, which is the wealthy. Before you accuse me of being a socialist, though, or advocating for the wealthy to be taxed more out of self-interest, let me say that I have every intention of becoming wealthy myself, and I'm taking every step I can in earning more and making my salary go further, and I recommend the same for you. Most people need the motivation of greater comfort and options in life in order to innovate and produce, and that includes me. But I still don't think the system should be rigged to make it easier for the wealthy to get wealthier. The worst that is being seriously proposed right now by Obama from the perspective of the wealthiest 1% of Americans is that they pay a few percentage points more in their income tax, rolling it back to the level it was before their great benefactor George W. Bush was president. Of course, now they're screaming about their liberty being curtailed, saying that the poor and the middle class should shoulder more of the burden by cutting services that of course the rich have no need for. Then Republicans have the nerve to call it class warfare. It's the usual tactic of rich people during hard times. The familiar refrain echoes from Tea Party rallies everywhere, where the wealthy have convinced the uneducated that somehow poor people are making the rules and not the wealthy. Their understanding of economics is something like, you know why there's so many poor people right now? It's because there's too many poor people. Hey, it's the Tea Party. Logic doesn't have to enter into it. These are the same people that still follow Sarah Palin around and seriously think that "what publications do you read" is a gotcha question. One rich person that gets it, though, is Warren Buffett, and I give him a great deal of credit. The Oracle of Omaha, as he is called, and one of the richest people in the world, understands that having such a high percentage of wealth in the hands of such a tiny percentage of people is a bad idea for a healthy middle class and a healthy economy. He knows that the distribution of incomes is headed toward a profile more similar to a third world country than a wealthy and powerful one. He's been advocating the top brackets to be taxed more for many years. Unfortunately, I don't think it'll happen soon. The rich make the laws, and most of them think that having to finance that yacht for a couple more months is a terrible imposition on their liberty. Thomas Jefferson is laughing from his grave.